Hey, it's Lucas, and welcome to episode 1 of Stoned and Spooky. In this new series that I've decided to make, we are going to be taking one spooky topic per episode, doing a deep dive, looking into it, learning as much as we can about that certain topic, and all the while partaking in a couple of herbal treats. I can't promise it's going to be educational, I can't promise that it's going to stay on topic, but I can promise that it's going to be silly and it's going to be fun. So in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a subject that is so very close to my heart. We're going to be talking about zombies. I fucking love zombies. Anything to do with zombies, zombie movies, zombie shows, zombie games, I'm there. I love it. I don't know when this obsession started, but I distinctly remember my horror movie obsession really coming into fruition during the summer of... No, not quite the summer. It was during my GCSEs. So I did my GCSEs in 2012, but I think it was probably the full year of 2011 and the full year of 2012. Basically, this is going to sound really sad. My friends at school ditched me for no reason. They didn't tell me why. They just stopped talking to me. So for that entire year and summer, well, 2 years, I guess, 2 years and 2 summers, I didn't have any friends. So I took solace in horror movies, and my favourite was zombie movies. I've seen a lot. Genuinely, what I used to do is I would come home from my exams, if I had a morning exam, and I would Google list of zombie movies from the first zombie movie ever made to the most current zombie movie, and I would go on a website. I'm not going to say the name of the website, even though I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist anymore. Download the movies, and I would just watch horror movies all day with my curtains closed in my living room whilst my mum was at work. And that all sounds very sad and pathetic, but it has led to an intense obsession with zombies. So we're going to start at the top, but first and foremost, we need to get stoned. That's the whole point of this. And right here I have, this is some mimosa mixed with a little bit of something that was left in my grinder that hopefully is going to give me a nice sweet little fruity kick. So cheers everybody. It'd help if I was about to try and spark it on that side. That's pretty stupid of me. Cheers everybody. Take a virtual hit before we start. So, let's start out with, what is a zombie? I didn't think this through. My notes are all the way over there and I don't have my glasses on. So according to Google, a zombie is a corpse that has been reawakened via black magic, usually to do with African and Caribbean religions. In pop culture, a zombie is a corpse that has been reanimated by being bitten, infected with a zombie virus, and then coming back and having a taste for human flesh. In modern media, zombies can be created through practically anything. It doesn't have to be a disease. It can be gas, it can be radiation, it can be anything like that. But for me, I'm a traditionalist, and I believe that a zombie is a person who has been bitten by another zombie who then gets infected with the zombie virus. They have to die, right? If they don't die and they don't reawaken, then they are not a zombie, right? Unless the person has been bitten by a zombie, got the virus, died and then reanimated, they are not a zombie, and I will die on this hill, I swear to God. So the next question is, how are zombies made? And in folklore, such as voodoo, a priest or a priestess takes part of a person's soul and they put it back into the corpse to reanimate them, and that is what they call a zombie. In pop culture, modern zombies are made by being bit by an infected being, and like I said before, it can be gas, it can be radiation, it can be practically anything, but for me, you have to be bitten by an infected being, die, and then come back. Let's just take a look at this ash for a second, because it's not doing too bad, to be fair. It's not the best, but it's not doing too bad. Now I'm going to ash it. So now we're going to go back in time to figure out where zombies came from and why they're so popular right now. The first recorded use of the word zombie was in Brazilian poetry back in 1819, and this was relating to black magic, voodoo, and all that type of stuff again. The West's first exposure to zombies was W.B. Seabrook's book, The Magic Island, where he goes over to Haiti and he meets a bunch of voodoo doctors and they make zombies. All of the early zombie literature was based around this type of thing, voodoo and witch doctors and taking a piece of a person's soul, bringing a corpse back to life. It wasn't until 1968, where we see Night of the Living Dead by George A. Romero, the goat of zombies, that we see what a modern zombie typically looks like. These zombies in Night of the Living Dead are never actually called zombies, they're only ever referred to as ghouls. They're only called zombies later on when fans started calling them zombies, but Romero himself did not call them zombies in Night of the Living Dead. I call myself a traditionalist, right? But these zombies in Night of the Living Dead, you can't get more traditional than this. But when I watch this movie, it makes me a little bit mad because I'm going to go off on a tangent here, which I thought I was going to save for later. I probably will bring it back up later, but I need to say this now. These zombies in Night of the Living Dead, if you haven't seen it, like, spoiler alert, but it came out in 1968, so, like, what do you want me to do? There's a scene, I'm pretty sure it's a female zombie. She picks up her knife and, like, she goes to I think she does stab somebody, actually. And, like, zombies don't use tools. In my opinion, in my heart, I don't believe that zombies use tools, right? Especially, they don't stab. They don't kill their victims and then eat them. You know, as soon as they've got hold of you, they're gonna eat you. So, like, they don't need to stab you. There's no need for that. So that's just one thing that bugs me about Night of the Living Dead. But moving on. Night of the Living Dead, in a summary, I know I'm gonna leave a lot of it out, so it's basically a movie where it's about zombies. So Night of the Living Dead, in a nutshell, there's a group of survivors and they all end up in a farmhouse in the basement when all the zombies come and they try and get them. There's a handsome black man. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm almost certain that this is the handsome black guy trope in horror movies. I'm pretty sure that's where this came from. They end up in a farmhouse and everybody dies but him, and then finally, when the rescuers get there, he comes up and he's like, he's hurt, obviously, but he's not a zombie. But he ends up getting shot, and he ends up getting burned like the rest of everybody that died, so it's not really a happy ending, but it's a classic, and it's a good movie. So after Night of the Living Dead in 1968, there wasn't another classic zombie movie until 1985. There were zombie movies that came out between 1968 and 1985, but in my opinion, they weren't classic zombie movies. They were more on the side of black magic and voodoo and that type of zombie, rather than a pop culture zombie, you know, the infected, brought back to life, bite you type of zombie. There was Let Sleeping Corpses Lie in 1974, which was very much on the black magic side of zombies, and then later there was Rabid, which people basically go rabid and they start eating people, but that's not zombies because they don't actually die and come back. It's just a form of rabies. We might want to lump it in with zombies because they're eating people, but that's, to me, that's not a zombie. I've just realised I've been saying 1985 when I actually meant 1978, so everybody take a hit and laugh at me for getting the date wrong. My joint's even gone out, bro. So, 1978, George Romero comes back and he makes Dawn of the Dead, which is possibly the most well-known zombie movie of all time. I'm pretty sure, or at least if you're over a certain age, Dawn of the Dead is the movie that anyone thinks of when you say zombies. We learn a lot of things from Dawn of the Dead. Zombies are slow. Zombies have pack mentality. It's almost like a hive mind. When there's a lot of them there and they're all focused on one prey source, it's like a hive mind, right? So I don't know if that's specifically said in Night of the Living Dead. That's not specifically said in Dawn of the Dead, but it's pretty much, you know, an established thing. Zombies are slow. Zombies are stupid. Don't go to a mall to hide from them. A lot of things are carried over from Night of the Living Dead to Dawn of the Dead. One being the zombies are slow, the zombies are reanimated corpses, and the zombies want living human flesh. Again, spoiler alert, I'm going to sum up the movie. There's four people. There's a girl. I don't know the names of these people. There's a girl, there's the helicopter pilot, there's the black guy, and then there's another guy. And these four people are trapped in a mall that's overrun with zombies. They're living upstairs in like a maintenance room or something like that. They have a helicopter on the roof. There's two people who can fly, okay? There's Flyboy, and then there's Flyboy's girlfriend. She learns to fly the helicopter, and in the end, spoiler alert, ending, if you haven't seen it, it's been out for years. she flies herself and the black guy away off the roof, and they get away. Flyboy dies and the other guy dies. But we notice in this, right, so I don't know what the guy's name is. Black guy and the second guy, right? So this is what I'm going to call him. There's Flyboy, there's Flyboy's girlfriend, there's Black guy, and then there's the second guy, right? Because I don't know his name. So what happens is the second guy, he gets bit, and they take him back up to the room with the rest of them. No. I'm getting really stoned right now. Let me sort myself out. I said this was going to happen. This is Stoned and Spooky. So what happens is, these 4 people, they're in this room in the mall on the top floor, or around the top floor, and there's the black guy and then there's guy number 2, and they go out on like a supply run, and Flyboy stays in the room with the girl. And on this supply run, the black guy and guy number 2 are out for a while, so Flyboy goes out to try and find them. Guy number 2 gets bit, and black guy manages to get him back up to the room. At this point, I can't remember whether Flyboy's still out in the mall. I'm pretty sure he is. But guy number 2 is obviously getting sick because he has been bit. He ends up dying. He comes back, and I'm pretty sure they shoot him. Like, I'm 99% sure that they shoot him. And then Flyboy's still out in the mall, and he ends up getting bit. So at the end of the day, there's just black guy and Flyboy's girlfriend up in the room. And what they do is they panelled off the door. So on the ground floor of the mall, or the second floor of the mall, I can't remember, but the door up to their room, they barricaded it. And because, I don't know if I agree with this, but again, the guy who made zombies fucking made this rule, so I see it, but I bend it to my own sort of rules. So Flyboy, because he's fresh, zombies don't think. No, don't ever get it twisted that zombies are thinking beings, because they're not. Zombies, when they're fresh, they have like echoes of memories in their head, and because he just got bit and his body wasn't ravaged, so he was still able to get up and use his strength, he ends up going to the door up to the room, and he's banging on it, and then all the other zombies in the hive mind notice that he's there, and it's like they know that there's food up there, so they all start banging on this boarded up door, and the door goes through, and they end up going up and getting up to the upper door. And then obviously Flyboy's girlfriend and black guy, they go to the helicopter and they end up escaping. And you know, that's the plot in a nutshell. My point is, the zombies in this movie, you have to get bitten, you have to be infected, you have to die, and then you reanimate, and that's how you become a zombie. The zombies are slow. The fresher zombies, the ones that aren't as mangled and, you know, old, they are faster, but I don't know if I support the idea of runners, because in my opinion, to be a runner, you're infected, and if you're infected, then infected is being different than being a full-blown zombie, because you haven't died and reanimated, you've just been infected, so you've still got all your, you know, your life about you, and then you can run. I don't know if I subscribe to the whole infected runners type of zombies, but I do know that if you get bitten, you die, and then you reanimate, if your body's relatively unscathed, yeah, you're going to be stronger and you're going to be faster than the ones that have been dead for years and are missing limbs and are, you know, shambling the way through fields. But yeah, What was I talking about? So that actually leads on perfectly to the next bit of my rant, which is zombies versus infected, which I basically just summed up. If you get bit by a zombie, you die and then you reanimate, then you are a zombie. If you get bit but you don't die and you just turn, then you're not a zombie, you're just infected with something, but you're not a zombie. See, with most infected, you get bit and you turn, but then if you get shot in the head, you die and you don't. Well, I mean, if you got shot in the head before you died, you wouldn't reanimate anyway, so that's, that's not really proved my point there, has it? But I don't subscribe to infected. I don't think they're zombies, I think they are something else. To my knowledge, from what I found, The Crazies, 1973 was the first movie to have infected instead of zombies, where they didn't have to reanimate, they just got infected, like I said, and became some sort of rabid. Okay, so I just learned that The Crazies was actually directed by Romero, so I can see the input there, but I stand on my word, that is not a zombie movie, they are infected, they are two different things. There was also a movie called The Omega Man in 1971 about a doctor who injects his patients with a virus and they become mutants. I don't know why that was on the zombie movie list, because again, that's not a zombie movie, they are mutants, not zombies. So moving on to modern day zombies, I think when you say zombie to anybody, most people would think of a shambling, reanimated corpse that has a hunger for human flesh. Some people might bring up stuff like The Crazies, 28 Days Later and shit like that, but, you know, those people are just, you know, misinformed. They're not zombies. So that brings us to modern day zombies, and I think if you went up to a normal person these days and said, tell me what a zombie is, they would probably point you in the direction of stuff like The Walking Dead. Yes, they have faster zombies on there, but they are zombies. You do have to die and come back to be a zombie on The Walking Dead, even though they don't call them zombies, they call them walkers, but we all know that they're zombies. I lost my train of thought again, so I'm going to give courtesy shout outs to Day of the Dead and Reanimator, because those are two films that I also like. I also want to give a shout out to the Resident Evil series, because this is not a zombie series. Again, they are mutants and infected. They're not zombies, but I love me some Resident Evil, so shout outs to that. This is all over the place, but speaking of Resident Evil, I think that might have a big part to do with the whole infected versus zombies, because that was one of the first, well, not one of the first, but one of the more modern movies to use mutations and infections as well as zombies in the same sort of vein. So even though I personally would not call them zombies, kind of, because it is a virus, but yeah. So with Resident Evil and then 28 Days Later and other spin-offs to do with infected, I feel like the concept of the infected is a way more modern term than the concept of a zombie, because like I said, zombie is very traditional, they are shambling, they're slow and they're stupid, whereas the infected are quick and they'll get you and they're smart and they know how to use tools, and they are not zombies, but people aren't scared of zombies nowadays because they're too slow, so we need to up the ante and give them a fast running infected, because zombies somehow aren't good enough anymore. But believe me, you know, if you've got more than like 4 zombies just on you, it doesn't matter how slow they are, they can fucking get you, because they are full grown human beings, right? And they don't care. They will use all the strength of the body that the living person may not have been able to master. The zombie doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't feel pain. It's gonna get you and it's gonna crush you and it's gonna rip your flesh out and it's gonna eat your brains, even if it can't run after you. I very much reject the modern zombie. I say I reject the modern zombie, but I counterpoint myself again by saying a fresh zombie, a fresh zombie that has, say, if I got bit right now and it was just a chomp to the arm and I managed to get away and I locked myself in my room and I died and I came back, my fresh zombie brain might have the ghost of being able to open up my door. I don't believe at all that I'd be able to get my keys out and put them in the door and turn it, but I might have enough of the electrical shit going off in my brain still to be able to open my door and get out, but getting back out into the street, probably not. And that's where I contradict myself, but that also goes back to Night of the Living Dead and Romero and zombies using tools. Night of the Living Dead is too far back because I rejected that, even though it was the first one. Dawn of the Dead with Flyboy, when he dies and he manages to go back to the door up into the room because there was enough of the brain still there, I guess, for the time being before the virus has fully taken over, that he knew that. So I contradict myself, and even I don't like it sometimes, but I have to let it be said. And I feel like that's a lot more of the modern zombie now. I kind of don't want to talk about the whole, like, Twilightism of it, is what I'm going to call it, you know, like, obviously Twilight's vampires, but there's been spin-offs and movies. I can't remember what the movie's called, but it's about this teenage zombie, and it's cringe. It's for kids, and it's cringe, and it's shit. But oh yeah, actually, I've just thought of something right now. I'm so sorry, this is all over the place, but this is the most fun I've had making. I'm dreading editing this, but this is really fun for me right now, even if nobody watches this. There was a show back on BBC 3. Fuck, what was it called? I'm gonna have to Google it. The show was called In the Flesh, and it was about a zombie uprising. This guy, the main character, is called Kieran, and he killed himself a few years ago before this is all taking place. And then something happened, and there was a zombie uprising. And the zombies all came back, and somehow they found a cure. And I know it sounds stupid, but like, the series was actually really good, and I might have to go and rewatch it now because I remember it being really good. Basically what happened is they managed to like catch some zombies and experiment on them, and they end up like shooting this milky liquid. This is all from memory. I've literally just googled this and looked at the artwork. What's it called? I was gonna say thumbnail, the poster or whatever it's called. This is all from memory. And they shoot them up with like this stuff in the back of the neck, and it gives them like sentience. They're back to their normal self, but they're still dead. They've got dead skin. They're all grey, and the like eyes look weird. So they make them put contact lenses in, and they make them wear face-colored makeup to make them blend in. And if they don't take the medication every so often, I don't remember how often it is, they do revert back to being a zombie. So like it's weird, but it's a really good show, and I feel like that is a really good modern zombie TV show. It came out in 2013, and I haven't seen anything like it since then, actually. So if somebody was to do something like that again, I think it would be interesting, but they would have to do it in a different way, not just straight up copy them. So that'd be interesting to see if anybody wants to try and make that. I have been saying all the way through this that I am very traditional. And in my opinion, if I got bit, I would want someone to shoot me in the head. If one of my family members got bit, I would shoot them in the head. I wouldn't be waiting around for no fucking cure, because I don't believe it would happen. But I do like to see TV shows like this, and I do like to hear other people's opinions. Of course, I know that it would be harder, you know, easier said than done, if, say, I was going to say my mum, but my mum's already dead. Actually, yeah, that's a pretty good one, actually. So, no, actually, I would shoot my mum. I just went through a whole range of emotions in like 3 seconds then. I was like, oh, if there was a zombie apocalypse and my mum came back, like, would I stop her and be like, oh no, that's my mum? I'd be like, no, fuck no, I haven't seen my mum in years. I know my mum's dead. That's a fucking zombie, and I'm going to kill it. So that wasn't the best example right there. So say, for example, if my boyfriend got bit, I say this to him all the time. If you get bit, I'm not waiting for no fucking cure. I'm shooting you in the head. Sorry about it, but like, no, I'm not just gonna. He says to me, like in Shaun of the Dead, where it turns out that Ed's chained up in the shed. He's like, would you not just chain me up and play Xbox with me? I'm like, fuck no, zombies can't play Xbox. That's literally a comedy movie, and I will allow it because I love Shaun of the Dead. It's not trying to be serious, so no, I wouldn't keep you chained up in the shed. You'd be fucking dead, mate. So, in a nutshell, I reject a nutshell. in a nutshell, I reject the majority of modern day zombie theories and lore and shit like that. I am very much a traditionalist at heart. I was about to say I don't believe in runners and I don't believe in infected, but it's not that I don't believe it, it's just that it's not zombies. It's a completely separate category, and I can see how they merge, but an infected is not a zombie. And I don't know how many times I'll keep coming back to this, but it's just not. Point blank. Zombies aren't fast, zombies aren't smart, zombies don't run, apart from like maybe if they're very, very fresh, but not a full out fucking sprint to you. I'm gonna move on because I keep going back to this. I want to touch on parodies because even though I didn't have a note for parodies, I brought up Shaun of the Dead, and I do love me a good piss take horror movie. Shaun of the Dead is one of the best zombie movies because it is a piss take, but it stays true to actual zombies. These zombies don't run, these zombies aren't smart, they are very much traditional, shambling, eat your brains type of zombies, and I think that's why that movie works. If they were suddenly all sprinters, it wouldn't be funny because they'd just be straight up dead. That's just why it's funny. It's traditional, and that's why I stick to traditionalism. But then also there is another movie that I really like, Zombieland. That movie annoys the fuck out of me. Ooh, I love it, but like genuinely, every time I watch that movie, I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Especially, spoilers, again, towards the end where they get to the fucking theme park and they light up the bastard theme park as if all the fucking zombies from miles and miles around aren't just gonna come straight to the fucking theme park. And then also there's bits where they're wasting ammo. I'm like, well, why are you wasting the ammo? I get far too, like, into it, but I also love it because it's a funny movie. So yeah, Zombieland is not the best example of a zombie movie, even though it is only just a joke, because they do have runners in Zombieland. For example, spoilers again, it's not really a spoiler, it's the beginning of the fucking movie where he lets the girl into his dorm and she falls asleep. Well, she dies on his shoulder basically, but it looks like she's fallen asleep, and then he wakes up and she's just fucking there, and then he pushes her off and he has to run out the door and she sprints after him. Like, zombies don't run, but Zombieland is a good movie. Shout out Walking Dead. I haven't finished it. I got up to, I can't even remember where I got up to. It was quite far, but there was a lot of seasons after it as well, so it was after they got to the fort, I think that's what they called it. It might have been a season or two after they got to the fort, or maybe it was when they left the fort. I don't know, but like, shout out Walking Dead, because Walking Dead's good as well. I remember the first time I watched The Walking Dead, I watched the first episode, or the first couple of episodes, and it was dark outside, and I had to go and meet my mum at school because it was parents' evening, and I creeped myself out, and I sort of convinced myself that everybody walking past my house was a zombie. So we've talked about zombies, we've talked about the zombie beginning, the zombie middle, the zombie end, we've talked about modern day zombie. I'm so fucking baked. Modern day zombies. Now we're going to talk about what I would do in a zombie apocalypse. So, here is my plan for the zombie apocalypse. I would probably kill myself. I would straight up probably just kill myself, because I'm asthmatic and I wear glasses, I'm chubby, and I can't run, my knees hurt, I've got flat feet. So I don't think I would do very well, realistically speaking, in the zombie apocalypse. But hypothetically, what I would do is, right, I live close to a hospital. It's about a half an hour walk, maybe, if you're taking it steady. So maybe less than that, but I'm going to say it's about a half an hour walk. It's a big hospital as well. Like, there's a lot of people in there, there's a lot of units, and there's a morgue. People die in there every single day. It's a hospital, like, it's just the reality of it. And also, my sister works there, so I know a little bit about what goes off. So town's about a 45-minute to 50-minute walk away. The hospital is about a 30-minute walk away, and also there is a big ass race course and 2 big hotels, and like it's a built up area. Like, it's not London big, but it's not a big city, but there's a lot of shit in it, so it's built up and there's a lot of people around. So if shit went down, I would want to get out of here as quick as possible. I feel like I would have an indication if there was going to be something crazy going down, because like I said, my sister is a nurse, she works at the hospital, so she would know if there was any crazy virus going around. And I would tell her, I would be like, come get me, get your family, come get me, and also Jay. I don't know what he would want to do with his parents, but this is just what I've been thinking all these years. So me and my sister and her family in her car, I'm thinking we would probably head north, because even though we're already in the north, going south would not be a good idea, because you don't want to get any closer to London, because the central population, that's where the most people are. So you want to avoid major cities, and don't go to any malls, like we learned in Dawn of the Dead. Avoid the fucking hospitals, because the hospitals are going to be the first thing to get overrun. Don't go to hospitals, don't go to medical centres, don't go to supermarkets, don't go to... I would avoid flats, like anywhere with tall buildings, narrow stairways, nowhere to get out. Don't go there. Part of me, I read a book, and I can't remember what this book is called, but it was about zombies, obviously, and I'm pretty sure they were on a boat. There was a load of people on a boat in the middle of the ocean during a zombie apocalypse, and they had taken this boat on purpose and gone out to sea, and they went back to land every so often to re-up on supplies and stuff, and they just lived at sea, because even though zombies, they don't die when they go in the sea, pardon me, they just, I guess float, I guess some of them sink, but they don't die because they don't need to breathe, so they just carry on walking. And I don't think, I've never seen, I've never read, I've never heard anything about zombies having any kind of awareness when it comes to water. So, you know, they'll just walk through lakes and stuff like that, puddles, whatever. I don't know if they would just straight up walk into the sea though. I've never, I mean, I have thought about this, but I've never come to any sort of conclusion on it, because even though a zombie won't die if it goes in water, it'll decay and it'll erode quicker, I would think, until there's nothing left. Once its brain's rotted away, then it's donezo, it's gone. Like, it can survive without anything else. You've seen, you sever a zombie at the neck, the head doesn't die, the body will die, but the head won't die, because you need to destroy the brain. Also, I can't... How have I gone through this entire fucking video without mentioning destroy the brain? What the fuck? What the fuck? Bro. That is the first thing I should have said, bro. Destroy the brain, right? Always destroy the brain. That is the only way to kill a zombie. You cut its head off, it's still gonna gnash its teeth at you, and it's still gonna bite you. Decapitated zombie, so long as it's got teeth, it'll get you. If you pulled all the teeth out of a zombie, it's still gonna gnash down at you until it's got you. And once it's broken the skin, it's over for you. The virus is in there, and you're dead. That's it. Bye. So if your loved one becomes a zombie, you need to blast the brains out. Like, we don't have, well, most of us don't have guns over here in the UK, so you're gonna have to either fucking... Obnoxious people on bikes, bro. Obnoxious. You're gonna need to find a blunt object or a sharp object and bludgeon them to death in the head, or stab them through the eye. Through the eye is gonna be the easiest, because it just goes pop. I feel like through the mouth and up would be dangerous, unless you've got a long blade, because it's too close to the teeth. Through the ear is probably pretty good, but if you miss your target, it'll still go in the head, but it's going to be harder to get through, because there's a whole ass skull, and it's not hard, it's not easy to break through. So, you know, these are things that you need to know. looking around my room right now, if I woke up and I found out that Jay was a zombie, I would probably use the base of this mic stand because it weighs 5 kilograms and it's easy to pick up. I would bludgeon him to death if he was a zombie. I feel like that would be the easiest way to kill a zombie for me, because the knives in my house are all blunt. Like, I would be better off cutting things with my big toe than I would with any of the knives in this fucking house, so there's no chance that any of the knives would go through bone in this house. So it would have to be bludgeoning with a weight. I've got plenty of weights in my room, so yeah, that's how I would do it. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I would take my family, and part of me says high ground is good when the ground is high. No, high ground is an advantage, but you don't want to be on top of like a hill surrounded on all sides by a slope, because if the zombies then come up the hill in a horde from all sides, you've got nowhere to go. So you kind of want to be somewhere where you can see over the rest of the land, but not somewhere where you're vulnerable. You always need an escape. So I don't know where I would tell my sister to go. I would probably, like I said, head north to the wilderness, but I don't know where in the wilderness. Possibly to the beach. I don't know where we would get a boat, but if we are at the beach, at least with the sea to our back, we know that zombies aren't going to come from the back unless they've already walked through the sea, which I don't think a lot of them would do. I could talk about this for a long time, and I have been talking about this for a long time. My camera currently reads 1 hour and 7 minutes, so that's going to be interesting to edit. But yeah, the other plan, I guess, would be to go to Jay's parents, or have Jay's parents come to us, because they have like a camper van with all the bells and whistles on it. So we would have a place to sleep. That would be pretty safe, but the only problem is it's bright red, so we would have to paint it camo, because I don't want to be driving around in a bright red camper van, because it just screams come and rob me, or come and eat me, or, you know, come and steal all my shit. That's the same as being robbed. I was gonna say a different R word, but I can't say that, even though this video is almost certainly demonetized. Well, I don't get paid anyway, so demonetization doesn't mean anything to me. Age restricted is what I meant to say. This video is most certainly age restricted, and I've mentioned that I would kill myself, but I'm not gonna say the other R word, because yeah, I don't want to push my luck. I'm not talking about retarded zombies either, just to make that very clear. So, in conclusion, what did we just learn? Probably not a lot of anything, to be honest with you. That was a lot of waffle right there. But if you watch this video, or you skip through this video to the end, then shout out you. Thank you. Leave me a comment that says Frankenstein, because people looking in the comments won't understand why you're commenting Frankenstein on a video about zombies. But this guy here, comment Frankenstein. I've actually really enjoyed making this video. I've sat here for over an hour talking to myself about one of my favourite subjects, and honestly, I put off making this video because, like, just the thought of researching it for some reason, even though it's something that I love, I just didn't want to do it. I was making excuses. I was procrastinating it. But yeah, I've had a really good time just sat here talking to myself. If anybody has enjoyed this video, like I said, please leave a like, leave me a comment telling me that you enjoyed it, because I'm going to make more of these. I don't know what my next subject is going to be. I've got a whole ass list, and they're going to be long episodes, and they take a while to make. I do have to do some research. I know a lot about zombies, so this one didn't take a lot of research, but I don't know a lot about the whole broader horror spectrum. I know a lot about a lot of things, but going into topics like this, it's fun. I am going to end the video with a bong rip, even though I'm absolutely ripped. And and then I'll see you next time. I hope you had as much fun as I did learning about zombies and talking about zombies and getting absolutely baked. Peace.